All right, welcome to the weekly podcast. This is episode 6. It's a little later than usual, but shit happens. I'm going to try and make this tad bit quicker than the 50 minutes we've been doing just so we can work on the no-trade list. A lot of people are expecting that, so me, Lacey, maybe Rabbit, and JR, if he feels like staying around, might help us with that. I don't know. We'll see. So we're going to go over free agents, free safeties, strong safeties, and the last two AFC divisions that we have not went over yet. Let's start with free safeties. Actually, we'll start with strong safeties. That came out first. I think we did everything else besides the safeties, right, Lacey?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe we didn't do linebackers.
We didn't do linebackers, no.
We'll do the safeties. Linebackers will just nobody cares about linebackers. None of our teams are on them. Rashad Jones, the number one safety, 93, finally getting some love. He has not gotten love from Madden for a very long time. Cam Chancellor, despite his slow start, he did have a strong finish, 91 overall. His zone coverage dramatically dropped, though, down to a 79. Lacey might have a issue with that. He'll still be a beast hitter, though. Patrick Chung went to an 86, third overall, so that means the third overall safety is at 86. TJ Ward, fourth at 85. And the Packers, Morgan Burnett at a 85 also. Seems like a fairly straightforward, strong safety list to me. I can't disagree with any of it. Lacey, you?
No, not really.
Okay. How do you feel about Cam Chancellor's zone dropping?
He was terrible last year in zone coverage on multiple occasions, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay. You think that's because of the holdout?
Yeah, he just got off to a slow start, came off surgery, missed OTAs, held out. His zone coverage in the Bengals and Panthers game alone cost game-winning touchdowns. So,
fair enough. Rabbit?
Yeah, I think that's fair. But if you look at Rashad Jones, he's only like 2 points higher in zone coverage. I think he has one of the higher awarenesses. He has almost an 80 catch. So I'm glad to see he's getting some love. He's always been a good player. So I think it's some respect, I guess.
Is
Your audio's terrible.
Yeah. Back out and come back in, Rabbit. You got a link, right? Or I'll invite you. Okay, I'll send it to you. Coach isn't here. Coach decided not to show up. This is a first-time user, guys. Our Texans owner, JR. I don't think Lacey's ever heard or seen JR. Well, you've seen him in the golf league.
I've heard him, yep.
Yeah, you've heard him in the golf league. So, JR, our new Texans owner, first podcast. Welcome to the podcast, JR. You hope to see you on some more. What are your thoughts on the safeties, man?
I think they hit it right out. Like he said, Cam, man, we burnt the hell out of Chancellor when we played him, but I am a Panthers fan, though, so.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to go to strong safeties, who are strong free safeties this time. The last thing released. Tyrann Mathieu, number one. What stats he has. 96 man coverage, 95 zone coverage. He doesn't even play safety that much, which is the crazy part. 93 acceleration, 90 speed. I don't see anybody be able to pass on him, period. My boy Harry finally gets some love at 94 overall. Kind of surprising. I felt like he deserved to be second overall last year and maybe third overall this year behind Earl Thomas. I feel like Madden's maybe 1 year out. Harrison did have a good year last year. He just hurt a little bit. I still felt he deserved to be a top 3. I just didn't know maybe. Eric Berry, number 3. Earl Thomas, number 4. Still a beast. And Malcolm Jenkins makes the list, which is him and Harrison Smith are two of the better all-around safeties in the league. So I'm glad Malcolm Jenkins is finally getting some love too. According to Pro Football Focus, the only two that had passing grades in run and passing and pass stopping are Harrison and Malcolm Jenkins. So, Lacey, your thoughts on this? Earl's back down a little bit to 4 overall, but still a 94 overall. So.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think the Seahawks struggles, like we talked about with Cam, affected Earl last year too. So these are the 5 guys that I was thinking it was going to be. I just didn't know what order. So I don't have any problems with any of them. And Tyrann, he's the best corner on the game, let alone rated safety. So.
Yeah, he's going to be hard to pass on. We'll see if Mikey figures out how to use Patrick and Tyrann to kill us all. JR,
Yeah,
what
that
do
other
you-
that other corner is going to get abused.
Yeah, I don't. You're gonna have to. There's only one guy you can pass on their team. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
JR, what are your thoughts about this?
Shouldn't same with Tyron's overall. So I mean, I mean, you expect it. He's shut down, but damn.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the best. He's the best coverage thing on the game. I don't think probably ever. Just based off of those stats,
Yeah,
he's
I
better
think
than
top 5 right on though.
he's better than Richard Sherman and Revis in their prime. Neither one of them had that high of zone
Nah,
and man
not
coverage
like
combined.
Not like he doing.
Yeah, best safety to ever play the game. We'll go over the middle linebackers real quick. I got them pulled up. Let's see here, and they are number 1, Luke Kuechly, 99 overall. No surprise there at all. Luke Kuechly's best in the game. Brandon Marshall, 90 for the Broncos. No surprise there. Derek Johnson, 90. Bobby Wagner, 88, drops a little bit, but his speed and acceleration picked up from last year. 88 overall for both of them. So I don't think you'll be trading Bobby again.
No, I didn't trade Bobby before.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. No,
No.
you traded me the backup. Jamie Collins, 88 overall, linebacker, or the linebacking core for the Patriots, looking unstoppable. What are your thoughts on that, Lacey?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to complain about Bobby Wagner dropping, but it's the same thing with the NFL Top 100. He didn't make that list, and it just blows my mind. I don't get it. But I thought I had him second behind Kuechly, so I guess third isn't that far off. The speed that he has is going to be pretty fun to use. So
Seems like there's a Seahawks in every single one of these lists.
yeah, except for Michael Bennett on defensive line. That's the one that I thought was almost a gimme. So who knows?
JR, your boy Luke is on top. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he should be. I mean, I don't see anybody. He's gotten better every year, and he was already rated high.
Fair enough. I didn't see anything surprising about this list myself. I thought they were pretty. I feel like the list is pretty. These 3 lists have not been terrible. We'll knock out the outside linebacker real quick. That list is not as good, in my opinion. Von Miller, 99 overall. Understandable. Super Bowl champ. Pretty much won the Super Bowl himself. Number 2, Justin Houston. Had all those sacks. Not surprising either. Khalil Mack, 3rd overall, 94. A little bit surprising. Thought he might have been a bit higher. I think he had something like 17 sacks. So he was up there too. Perrell McPhee. This one's a little bit surprising to me. I didn't feel like he was maybe a top outside linebacker, but I'm biased because I'm a Vikings fan. And Dante Hightower, another pass rusher. I'm a little disappointed they didn't have any of the 4-3 outside linebackers on here. Anthony Barr came in at 88, so he's almost up there, but even so, none of the 4. It's like they put a premier on pass rushing only on these outside linebackers. So, Lacey, your thought on these?
I can't believe Khalil Mack's not number 2. The guy was an all-pro at 2 different positions, and he's not the second best behind Von Miller. I don't understand that one.
Technically had better stats than Von Miller, but
Right. I mean, I could argue he's number 1, but if you're going to put Von number 1, I'll let it. I'm okay with that. But they're 1 and 2 in my book. So.
Okay, how do you feel about Perrell McPhee? A lot of people
Well,
thought.
McPhee and Hightower, I don't get Hightower either.
Yeah.
Hightower plays a lot of inside backer, so I don't consider him even really an outside backer purely to begin with.
Yeah.
I think of all the lists, this is probably the one that I have the most issue with. Maybe of all.
Yeah, he's a decent coverager. Dante is though. The coverage, I guess he's the closest thing to a 4-3 outside linebacker. JR, your thoughts on these outside linebackers?
I don't know. The one that surprised me is the McPhee, like you were talking about.
I was just a little surprised that he made the list of top 5. He's a good player. He just disappeared when he played us, which is surprising because if you disappear when you play us against our terrible line,
But
I don't.
it's like you said, this is the top 5 though. It's just because you're good don't mean you're gonna make the top 5.
Yeah, so I guess Rabbit is MIA. He has not yet to return. So Was that all the things did we go over defensive ends? I think we did last time, didn't we?
Defensive ends, I don't remember. We did all offense, I think.
I'll get it up real quick while we're waiting. Hopefully, Rabbit will come back. It's not hard to get these things up.
We didn't do defensive ends because I didn't bitch about Michael Bennett not being there.
You're right. Okay, number 1, J.J. Watt, 99 overall. No surprise there. There he is. Rabbit's back. Rabbit, real quick, go over your thoughts on the middle linebackers and outside linebackers if you can.
Luke
Kuechly, number 1.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good now. We can hear you fine.
Cool. Yeah, I think obviously Kuechly's the best linebacker in the game. There's no doubt in that. There wasn't any real big surprises there, I don't think. Usually a lot of your usual suspects. So.
Okay. Well, we already went over the other one, so we're trying to get quick here so we can work on this list. But defensive ends, J.J. Watt's 99 overall, no surprise there. Jarrell Casey, 93 overall, 3-4 right end, I believe. Brandon Graham, number 3 overall, kind of surprising to me right there. Mike Daniels, 92 overall, and Oliver Vernon, 91 overall. This whole list seems a little questionable to me. They got outside linebackers who can only rush the passer as these high-rated guys, and then they've got these other not necessarily pass rushing defensive ends on here, such high rate. I don't know. There's as much as I don't want to give Waka and Ashton credit, they're what's his name? Ziggy Ansah definitely probably deserved to be on this list. Everson came in at 88. He's a dominant force, but he doesn't get the sack, so I understand that. I don't know. These aren't the premier players I would have expected to see on this list besides JJ. Your thoughts on it, Lacey?
Yeah, I take back my previous statement. This is the group that I had the biggest issues with. After J.J. Watt, I think every one of these is wrong. So.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on Michael Bennett also. He single-handedly would destroy our line the 2 times he played. It was all the names they throw out there, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, none of those were as big of a problem to us as Michael Bennett. So how he didn't make this list is beyond me.
Yeah, and every other one of these is a 3-4 defensive end, so they have all 3-4 outside backers on the linebackers and all 3-4 D ends on the defensive ends. This list is, Mike Daniels being in the top 5? Come on.
Yeah, I didn't get that one at all.
I don't.
Me neither.
No.
Not even a little bit. All right, JR, what are your thoughts on this list?
I don't know. After J.J. Watt, Casey, he might be a top 5, but not number 2.
Yeah, to say he's the second best, most disruptive player on the line, whether it comes to run stopping or passing, I don't get. Because a player like JJ and a player like Michael Bennett disrupt the entire game.
Oh yeah.
Michael Bennett would single-handedly, even Coney Ealy in the Super Bowl. Those are the kind of things they disrupt the game. Those are top 5 players. These guys are very good players. So, in my opinion, Rabbit, your thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, those last 3 definitely could have went with Bennett and Ziggy bumping up in the top 5, and probably Wilkerson from New York coming in at 4 or 5 there. First 2, at least, of course, JJ's the top rated one, and Casey probably would have made the top 5, but after that, it was garbage.
Okay. I think that's it for those. We're going to go ahead and go to these divisions now. I know we have to do the AFC South. Who's the other team? The Wakas. So we have to do the AFC South and West, correct, Lacey? I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll start with the AFC South. We're going to start with the Texans. Oh, we lost Rabbit again. And Rabbit's back again. Rabbit feels like dropping off and joining off every 2 seconds.
I double-clicked. Sorry, guys.
All right, we're going to start with the Texans, JR's team. In my opinion, JR needs to work on running the ball just like I do. He is a pass-happy guy, but he just picked up the 88 overall 5th-rated running back in the game in Lamar Miller. He's got Brock Osweiler. If he can develop Brock Osweiler, the team doesn't need a lot, maybe some secondary a little bit. He's got the wide receivers. He's got the cheese wide receivers. When I was talking about the Bills, I was naming off the Chiefs Texans wide receivers. It's actually them, Will Fuller, Braxton Miller. So is it Will Fuller or is the other one? They got one of the fast ones. But so the Texans have all the offensive weapons they need, all the defensive weapons they need. JR can get his run game going. He'll be pretty good. The defense will do it on its own.
Well, I actually like running. I'm not happy. I just
Well, JR, what do you have to do to improve your game? What do you think you're going to finish? I'm saying 8-8.
8-8.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna win 10, 12 games, but that don't mean it's gonna happen. I'm trying to win every game, you know.
Okay, fair enough. What do you got to do to improve your game or your team?
Sure, I need to ride and see how they're gonna play together. Because I actually like Brock down there.
Yeah, I think if you can develop Brock, he's not going to be bad. Lacey, what do you think about? I don't know if you've played JR before, but what do you think about that team?
Yeah, I played him in the draft. I played him. I think the Texans are going to be one of the better teams on Madden.
Yeah.
I think that defense is going to give you all kinds of problems. I think the secondary is probably the weak spot that he's going to have to work on. Offensively, though, adding Lamar Miller and then Brock Osweiler, he might not be great, but he's going to be better than Brian Hoyer was on the game last year. So,
oh yeah,
he's going to be able to drop back and launch it up to DeAndre Hopkins, who's
exactly
what I want Treadwell to be. So
he, you got what, Stifler and Pink, and who's the Jags this year?
Pink Jags, Kyle.
Kyle. I think he's gonna have a tough time in that division. It's gonna be tough. So yeah, probably 8-8, 9-7 range is probably a good guess.
Okay, Rabbit, I think you've played JR too. What are your assessments of him and the team?
Too many bowls ago, I believe, but
Well, what about the team?
Right, and I've had my eye on that Texas team because I've got them in the ASL, and and actually had Brock and DeAndre in the draft league. So I can agree there. If you can develop Brock, I was way down on him early on, but by mid-year 2, he was humming pretty good. So having Lamar Miller is definitely going to upgrade anybody's running back game for the most part. So I think if he can get him going, maybe battle for a wild card, but Kyle's just a bitch to play sometimes. He's tough.
All right, fair enough. Next up, Pink is the Colts owner. I played him a few times. He's a very pass-happy oriented guy too. He learns a lot of routes. If anything, I'd say his game needs a change. The thing he needs to work on would be fitting into our new defensive analytics, getting out of the cover 3. He did run that quite often. He likes to go deep. He does. He likes to chunk it up. So I don't see very many weaknesses in his game. He's probably going to have to work on that secondary or defense in general. They're aging a little bit, and I believe they lost a cornerback, didn't they? I think they lost one of their premier. They got Vontae Davis still, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so they're a little weak on everything besides Andrew Luck, and even he dropped considerably. So this is actually, in my opinion, one of the worst teams in Madden. I think he's going to have to get a running back, unless he thinks Frank Gore is going to be the answer, which he's not.
Susan Fleener hurt bad too.
Who?
Kobe Fleener.
Yeah, and they lost Kobe Fleener. He was one of the premier. He was one of those Madden cheat tight ends. So he lost a lot of talent, and Andrew Luck dropped. So this is a terrible team to start with. He's a good owner. He mixes up his defense. I think he'll be fine. But roster-wise, I think he needs to work on a little bit of everything and get Andrew Luck back up to what he needs to be. JR, did you play? You played.
Well, I've been playing him in my other league. I used to be the Colts, though. I don't know.
All right.
And that's like Dorsett's almost like a cheat code if you develop him. Is he like 96, 97 speed?
Yeah, he's pretty fast.
Then
They have wide receivers.
The defense is going to be rough because the Colts have none.
That's true. Definitely need to work on that. Lacey, your thoughts on?
Pink's a good player. The problem is he's got the worst roster in that division.
Yeah.
And he's got Dorsett and Hilton, and Dwayne Allen is going to be, I think, pretty good on this game, but he has no running game, and Pink would prefer not to run anyway, I think. But so I think that's going to be the biggest thing he's got to work on is finding any sort of running game. That offensive line's got to protect Andrew Luck. And then on defense, he's got to find a pass rush because they don't have any. So it's if we were going on strictly the player, I think Pink would be right there in the division, but I think he's probably going to be around the 8-8, 7-9 spot that first year as well.
Okay, Rapid, what are your thoughts on Pink?
Yeah, I agree with all the above posts. They're going to need to. I know the Colts went with some offensive line in the draft, which they definitely needed to help keep Andrew Luck upright and healthy. But the defense is going to be horrid. No real speed outside of Vontae. Yeah, he's probably going to end up 6-10 to 8-8. It's just going to be tough until he can get some folks developed and maybe hit on some draft picks.
Okay, next up, Kyle and the Jags. Jags have a ridiculous roster, young roster. Kyle is well set up, probably one of the worst teams he could have got. He's going to be fine. If I had to say anything, he's going to need to work on probably the analytics of the game as well, probably a little bit more so than Pink. Him, Jeff, Ashton, they have a very, very similar game, and I played them both twice a year. Shotgun, they run out of shotgun, run a cover 3 with control of the middle linebacker, who will be Miles Jack. So it's going to be pretty bad for everybody. Roster-wise, maybe the secondary still hurting. Other than that, there's not a lot if he can develop some of those pass rushers. In my opinion, I think he can work even with what he's got. So I think Pink would probably go 9-7, 10-6. I'm going with Kyle going 12-4, 13-3 year one. JR, did you play Kyle? You played Kyle, didn't you?
Yeah. Heard you. This receiving core is ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
Like even their running backs are threats to take it out.
Yeah. So he.
Only thing is the secondary. You could work on that, but.
Yeah. What do you think his record's going to be playing him?
His record, I would say around what you said, 7-9.
Oh, whew. I said 12-4 for him, I believe. But Lacey, your thoughts on Kyle?
I fully expect him to win the division. I think he's going to contend for the number 1 seed in the AFC. The problem, I think he's going to have to. I don't know this problem, but he's going to have to make sure he doesn't get too pass happy with that passing game. I think the Jags passing game might be one of the better ones in the game. So just finding a balance is probably his biggest key. And then on defense, Jalen Ramsey looks like a stud, but there's some holes on that defensive secondary that probably needs to work on. So, I think analytics is probably his biggest deal, is making sure he gets enough runs in there.
All right. What is the record?
Probably 13-3, 12-4, right in that range.
All right. I know you've played him a few times, Rabbit. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, he's a good player for sure. Definitely going to win the division. Right around what you guys are thinking. I might give him a tick down to 11-5 to 12-4. But he's got a couple of corners. He's got Amukamara and he's got Jalen Ramsey, of course, and just him patrolling the middle of the field with that middle linebacker is going to be tough for anybody that comes across him. But if he can get down to mixing up the zone defenses and mixing in that run more, then watch out.
Okay, fair enough. What's you said 11-9, 12. All right, last up, Stifler of the Titans. JR, you have not played Stifler. He left. He was not interested in the draft league. He had a very interesting team. He was running the read option a lot with Marcus Mariota. About halfway through the season, he was having an MVP type year, and then he ran into me, Pink. It was a terrible group of scheduling, and he just got slaughtered for about 4 weeks. Stifler's a good player. He learns. He's able to adjust. he takes coaching. Like if you give him advice, he takes it to heart and runs it better probably than you can run it. He ran that Eagles playbook and he ran it to a really good
Yeah.
ability. Uh, if he doesn't get down on himself and he doesn't take those when he doesn't play well, take the slaughterings to heart, I think he's a good player. I think he's a 10-6 type player, but I'm going to say 8-8 because he's not going to have faith in himself and he's going to play bad because of it. Lacey, your thoughts on Stifler?
He loves to run this option because he's a Mariota fan, and I think that's never going to be successful. So until he comes up with some other offense, I don't see him having much success in that division. He's got all the talent in the world on that team, though. Adding DeMarco Murray, the weapons they have at tight end and wide receiver, he can put up some points if he has a regular offense and then sprinkles in some of that option stuff. So I think his biggest key, though, is defense. He's got to find a defense to stop some of those offenses in that division. But I think he's gonna be in the cellar.
All right. Fair enough. JR? Yeah, you haven't played him. What are your thoughts on the Titans roster, I should say?
Well, roster-wise, it looks like they could be fighting for the number one spot. Roster-wise, with all the talent.
They got talent, Madden talent for sure.
Yeah, like especially guarding all the receivers, and then you got DeMarco. DeMarco Murray to me is one of the best north and south runners. You know.
Yep, it's terrible running out of shotgun though, just like AP.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Rabbit, you've played Stifler, I believe. I think you played him
so.
one. All right, what's your thoughts on him?
Maybe once. Yeah, I remember running that read option, and it'll surprise you the first couple of times he may pull it out. But if he can let that be more of a surprise than a game plan, that'll definitely help out his gameplay. But just looking at the line isn't very good there. Yeah, he's got DeMarco Murray, but he's got one person that's over an 80 on the line. And other than that, they're all mid to upper 70s. So this is going to be tough. Defense, not very good. Not much help on the corners. You've got McCourty, but he's on the down slope there. So
Yeah, he's got some building to do, but they got Madden talent, in my opinion.
I can see that. But I still think that he's going to have a tough time. A pretty tough division. He's probably going to end up 6-10.
Okay, who wins the division? I'm going with Kyle at 13-3, 14-2. Lacey?
Yeah, same.
Okay. JR?
I mean, I'm gonna be bad. I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm not gonna tell him to lose.
That's true. Fair enough. Understandable. I completely fine. Rabbit?
Yep, Jags.
You said JR?
Jags. Sorry, JR.
Just asking. All right, go to this last AFC division. Start with the Broncos and Jonathan, or Donald Trump, or Santa Claus, or whatever he likes to be called. His real name is Jonathan. He's a monster at golf, but unfortunately that has not translated over to Madden. I'd say roster-wise, he's going to be fine. I mean, their roster it's the Broncos. They won a Super Bowl in spite of Peyton Manning. That's how good they are. Paxton Lynch is going to be fine. Buildable, very buildable quarterback. A nice, pretty much a Osweiler clone. But his problem is building a quarterback, so that's going to be an issue. He has trouble throwing the ball. He throws a lot of interceptions. He's going to have to get into that practice mode and throw some timing routes rather than waiting for people to get open, much like BM. That would be my number one thing about Jonathan. If he can get that passing game going and timed right, he's going to be fine. He's got all the weapons. He's got Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, who I think is actually rated higher than Demaryius Thomas this year. He's got the defensive weapons where he can just run man coverage and you can't score on him. It's a tough roster to beat. I'm going to go 8-8 until he figures out how to pass the ball. Lacey?
Yeah, I mean, his defense, there's no issues. But, God, that quarterback spot.
You got to build up a quarterback, though.
Yeah, but I didn't see what he was rated for this first year. I didn't look at.
I don't
I
know.
can't,
On this,
I can't imagine it's
74.
very high. If he goes with Paxton Lynch, I think he's probably better off in the long run. But if he's going to play Mark Sanchez, I don't know that he'll win a game unless his defense wins. So, God, he has all the weapons around. It's just that quarterback spot is just terrible, and that offensive line is not very good. So,
No,
I think he's going to struggle. I think probably 6-10, and 5 of those wins are because of the defense.
Okay. No faith in his ability to pass the ball. Okay. JR, I don't know if you've played Deacon or
I've
Jonathan.
seen him play a good amount.
What are your thoughts on
I've seen him play against BM, but
it? It's a good game.
yeah, but what he was doing Peyton, you can't do with Sanchez or him. With Sanchez, you got to hit quick passes. That's the only way you're gonna do anything.
Well, that's what I said. His line and his inability. He's got to learn timing routes. Just what it is.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on his finishing record?
man, I would say something closer to 5'11", 4-12.
Okay, fair enough. Rabbit, have you played Jonathan?
Yeah, I think I played him in the past, and you know, I agree with Lacey that I think that the defense is going to win a couple games with him, but after that, this is a pretty paper thin team as far as depth goes. They got 15 or 16 positional players over 80 or even 79, and then after that, it's a big drop off where everybody's 74, 73 or below. So that line's going to kill them. The defense, the cornerbacks are going to make some plays and keep them in some games, but the first year is not going to be pretty, and I think he's going to be 5-11.
Okay, fair enough. Next up, Kansas City Extreme. Guy we stole from Clutch. I don't know if he's still going to be in Clutch, but he was in Clutch.
He left, I think.
Well, regardless, I'm happy to have him. He also runs a variety of things on our page. He's got a very good team in the Chiefs. They are a very stout team. They got Marcus Peters. They lost Sean Smith. I don't know who their other cornerback is right now, but regardless, they have Eric Berry. They got the secondary. They got the pass rushers. They got Jamal Charles, and past that, they don't really have a lot on offense. They got one receiver, Macklin. I don't know that the other ones are very good, but they do got Travis Kelce. The only thing he's going to have to work on is getting some of them skill positions built back up. Wide receiver, quarterback, maybe a new running back if he doesn't like West or Niles Davis or any of the 45 backs they have. He doesn't have a lot of faith in his game either. I think once he gets a little bit more faith in his game and he gets used to not having the feeling in his right hand that he lost, I think he's going to be able to. I think he's a good owner. 6-10 the first year until he gets the feel of the game. JR?
I'm looking.
Well, they're squad wise. They got a team. They got a team squad wise.
I've always loved them defensively, and that offense even stepped it up some.
Well, they had a passing touchdown to a wide receiver, so that's always a positive.
Yeah. Well, see, it was always like on paper they've always looked pretty decent offensively.
Yeah.
But I'll give them 8.
Okay, fair enough. Lacey? I skipped you, man. My bad.
Oh, that's right. I think a lot of what I said for the Broncos can apply to the Chiefs too. Defensively, that's going to keep them in games. They're going to win them some games, but Alex Smith, the ball's over 10 yards in the air, it's a 50-50 ball with him. So, and after Macklin, they don't have a receiver that can get open on his own, so it's going to have to be a lot of scheme stuff. If I'm him, I work Jamal Charles until he gets hurt. That would be my recommendation. I think he's going to struggle that first year, probably in the 4-win range would be my guess.
All right. Rabbit?
Yeah, I played Extreme a few times, and he's actually played me close in the last recent one. But yeah, I think that he's got to lean on Jamal. I saw they just signed Nick Cole, so pick your poison there with him or Alex Smith. But probably going to end up 5-11, 6-10. Um, I just think he needs to get, like you said, more confidence in his game, and then a little
Okay,
more selective with his passes.
fair enough. Next up, Fire Waka, one of our ex-admins and the admin for ASL, as the Raiders. He is very hyped about these Raiders and talking about how great they are. So if he doesn't win the division or and get pretty far in the playoffs, he's got some answering to do. Talent-wise, the team's got pretty much a little bit of everything. They got a little bit of offensive line, a little bit of wide receiver with Amari Cooper and Crabtree. They got Lat Murray. You know, everybody loves Lat Murray. Derek Carr, obviously. Defensive-wise, they got a rebuilt secondary that's going to be matting good, regardless of how good they are and how old they are in real life. He's got linebackers. The one maybe thing he doesn't have on the team is defensive end, or not defensive end, but defensive line in general, and that's depending on what he does with Mac. If he pass rushes him, that's again not a problem. I think Alden Smith probably won't be on the team, so maybe the front seven might be an issue outside of Khalil. Game-wise, he needs to work on his passing. Waka becomes dependent on the run, and when that doesn't work, he falls apart, as evident in the Super Bowl, where Jeff's main thing is stopping the run and forcing you to pass, which is probably why I have the success I do against Jeff, is because I pass heavy. You can't run against Jeff, and teams that Waka's not going to run against is going to be his downfall until he learns how to effectively pass the ball when he has to. That being said, that's a very weak division. Waka should go 13-3, 12-4, take the division, and get beat by somebody who can stop the run in the playoffs. I'm sorry, Lacey, go first. Lacey.
Yeah, I think Waka wins this division by probably week 12. I mean, he's going to go 13-3, maybe even 14-2, contend for that or the number one seed. His O-line needs a little work, and he doesn't like to throw first, and I know he's going to want to throw the ball to Amari Cooper. So I would say Julio Jones him and double team Amari, make him beat with other guys. And then on defense, up the middle I think is his weak spot. He's got all the edge rushers you could want. The secondary is good, but the safeties, middle linebacker, defensive tackle, I think is where his weakness is on defense that he's going to have to work on.
Okay. JR, I think you played Waka a few times.
I don't know. I don't think I have.
Oh, okay, well, thoughts on the Raiders?
I like them offensively. They're really nice if you can use them.
Yeah.
If
They're one of
get away from the run a little bit, even though it'll still be run first, but when you pass, they got too many weapons.
Yeah, he's definitely got to work on the passing game. I think it's honestly one of the best Madden teams there is out there, minus the Seahawks, who are just top 5 players on every list.
Seahawks like a cheat code.
Not offensive line. I can guarantee you that.
Well, we know where I'm going to be sending them. Rabbit, your thoughts on walking the not Texans, Raiders? Walking the Raiders.
Yeah, he's always been tough for me to play. Like you said, this is a weak division. I think he's going to go 12-4, 13-3. Definitely needs to work on the pass game. Try and get out there and lab it and get some things going to mix it up a bit, just so he doesn't fall apart if someone does stop his run. So otherwise, I mean, the roster's pretty set. But weak up the middle, like Lacey said, but he's going to be fine in the division. We'll see how he can hold up in the playoffs.
Okay. Last up, Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba. Bubba doesn't build teams. I'd say that's his biggest weakness. Bubba needs to learn how to build teams. get away, pass a little bit to the outside. Stop using Ask Madden every play. That would be another thing. You're never going to win a Super Bowl asking Madden. That's just the way it is. But that's what he does. He picks Ask Madden. And learn how to build teams. He beats me, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I even lose to him, honestly. He's not a good Madden player, but I lose to him. So. JR, just go ahead.
Man, if he don't build teams, he needs to cry. Because, man, this is horrible. Who's going to run the ball?
He loves Melvin Gordon, and he will run Melvin Gordon.
Oh, I know. He hits that screen pass every time. Man.
Lacey, thoughts on it? Lacey's gone. There you
No,
go.
I'm here. Bubba needs to watch football. So, I mean, he'll ask me who's some of the biggest names in football, who they even are. I'm like, do you watch football? No. So, he probably needs to watch football. That's what his biggest thing is. Yeah, finding a running game. That offensive line is atrocious. They tried to fix it. It can't be any worse than it was. But I'm going to say Bubba's going to make the playoffs.
What?
Bubba is going to make the playoffs. Write that down.
I'm naming off players right here that are going to beat Bubba.
Bubba is making the playoffs.
BM, H2O, and Dave, all better than Bubba.
Coach,
Bengals, Carson.
It has nothing to do with who's better. It has to do with that division is terrible, and he's going to get 4 wins without even trying. So he's going to make the playoffs.
That's incredible.
Rabbit,
your thoughts on it?
I ain't gonna go that far. I'll tell you that. I mean, well, I'm not down in his play. I think that he can. I think he's beat me before. But
What the fuck? How's he beating top tier players? He picks ass Madden plays.
like I said, he's making the playoffs.
right. I mean, it's just one of those games. But you know how it goes.
I do.
Right.
And then I hear about it for a year. I do.
Right. He'll rub it in for sure. But I think that, we give him a hard time about throwing to his running backs and all that, but I think I saw you posted something a couple of days ago that said he was actually below what the Chargers actually ran. So
It's very true. It is.
But asking Madden, you're going to get a lot of repetitive plays, and that's on this one job with what NSL is trying to do. So he's going to end up probably 8-8. I don't think he's going to make the playoffs, but yeah, 8-8.
I'll go 8-8 too. Who wins that division? I'm going Waka easily. JR?
I'm going with Walker.
Yeah, Lacey.
Yeah, I think Waka wins it by 4 games at least.
Sure it's not going to be Bubba?
No, I think Bubba's going 9-7. I think Waka's going 13-3.
Okay, Rabbit, Waka.
Yeah, fire Wakataka for sure.
Pretty unanimous. Probably one of the weakest divisions in the league, in all honesty. I don't see a weaker one off the top of my head looking at it. Pretty weak. All right, that's it for this week. We're gonna get ahead and started working on this draft no trade list, so people will stop telling me they want it. It's gonna be pretty in depth. Some of you guys might not like what's on it, but we'll go over it next week in the podcast. So, all right, guys. Other than that, see y'all later.